Alright.
Oh, hey! Welcome back to a very special episode of Turn the Page. Due to some supernatural technical difficulties experienced during Friday the 13th's full moon, we will be coming to you not live. Yet you'll still see us on YouTube. So once we post this, don't forget to check us out. Like, subscribe, share with your grandmother, all that cool jazz. And by our next episode, we will have this supernatural energy cleared away. We will call the Winchester brothers to have them purge the area. And we will be back with you as we normally are scheduled in a chaotic fashion.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, what's the
Still
first?
freaky. Freaky
Yeah.
Friday. This is another Freaky Friday. So they're just messing with my head. Maybe they messed with your head. If you can tell what's wrong with the video and know what's different, I'll give you a cookie. So, right into us. Starting with the news. As if we had never done it before, because it's new. There is some news, and I want you to be astonished when you hear this.
I will, I
Ronnie,
promise.
Calm yourself. I know you're still angry. Some news is hidden this week, and we're going to let Ronnie take it away and let us know what's been going on, what's going to affect the video game, retail, and collector community.
You're talking about GameStop.
Yes.
Oh, how did you know?
I didn't know things.
Some sort of...
No, GameStop, yeah. The CEO just announced that there are going to be about close to 200 store closings by the end of this year, and it's pretty terrible, not only for the collecting community and video game community and people that like actually going in brick and mortar stores, but it's even more terrible for those that have made GameStop a livelihood, like the managers and everybody, not the part-timers, they'll be fine, they're part-timers, they get paid crap, but the managers and everybody there, I mean, people that made their livelihood, they enjoyed working there, those that actually, and yeah, sometimes the part-timers too, like some people like
They can always get a job at FedEx.
Well, it's just the retail situation, like going forward into the future, like these types of jobs are going away.
Yeah,
in the next 10 years, they're going to be far and few in between.
The thing is like they're restructuring everything, and they're actually going to start carrying. They're going to be ripping off of another chain, which some of you may have heard of if you live in this area or Arkansas, Oklahoma.
It's the exchange.
It's the Game Exchange.
Yes.
They're actually ripping off their idea.
I like Game
bit.
Exchange.
They're going to be selling retro stuff eventually at GameStop.
So
Like Super Nintendo
NES
games, NES,
Like gold
Sega Genesis.
Zelda cartridges and DuckTales 2.
So, like, if they still had a Power Glove or a Game Genie?
Yeah.
Well, I
Power
mean,
Glove.
that's the only way to go is to go back because people, collecting has gotten insane in that area. I mean, there's a person that paid, it's like some kind of, what was it? Like some sort of sealed Mario copy that was really rare because it was like one of the first runs or something. And like I was talking to you, John, that one day about, how we think it's stupid people get comics graded because, like, it's just never going to be read.
Yeah.
Well, people are doing that with video games now and getting those graded. And people are paying, like, several $1,000s for them.
Oh, a grading system for
grading
like
systems for
and
cartridges
discs and stuff like that. That's
and
ridiculous.
package games.
So would you have to mail that off and get it sealed in a plastic package with
I
the
do
grading
have to.
symbol?
Vacuum sealed, never be played again. I understand the idea of archiving stuff, but like for what I understand, a lot
Put
of
it
people
in a museum.
A lot of people do it
Be like
because-
Dr. Jones.
to increase the value of it. So what prompted this? My guess is
Dr. Jones.
someone like forgot they bought like something for their kid for one Christmas. The kid got a ton of stuff.
It stayed in the Christmas closet.
It stayed in the Christmas closet in the attic, and then 20 years later, you're going through the old stuff, and you're like, here's an unopened box of NES with like Mario and the little robot and everything, untouched, pristine, for 20 years, going for $13,000 on eBay, And so I was like, oh, if I could prove that I had a perfect copy, let me go and get it graded.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand, back when I was collecting comics, it was like Near Mint, Mint, and that's all there was.
I had an 8.5
Yeah,
once.
good, very good. But like that was just a scale to give us an idea of like.
I mean,
But you're just stealing
I
something
had
away.
an 8.5 of issue number 94 of the Uncanny X-Men.
Like
run.
grade it.
Yeah, it sold.
Yeah. Did you grade it to sell?
I was interested in eating food at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, then that's fine. That's a smart idea.
It was a couple grand. So
I mean, it is just
that was very smart.
It is just like
But-
getting it certified. Like, see, I'm fine with that. Like, if you have an expert come in, say, hey, this is a mint condition, and then like seal it off, sign it, grade it. Like, but if you're doing it and then just storing it away to be sold again, like, I don't know. I don't. Like
there was a time I went to this fella's house, and when I walked in, he had several framed. Like he'd had them shipped off. They were comic graded. They were sent back to him with the number, and then he framed them and he had them hanging on the wall.
And
they
next
were
to it was
beautiful.
the-
I mean, as far as
that's
art pieces
cool.
go.
Now that's I can understand. Like if you're gonna frame them and put them up because you just want to collect them. Like if you're afraid of them like losing stuff over
Or if you
time.
have copies and you can read your
Yeah.
copies. Some people believe, this has been said, what's the point of keeping a book after you've read it?
You read it again.
Oh, that's my.
Well, they say like they put it up on the shelf just to prove their own significance and mental progress.
I've read this book. No,
I have
most
read
of my
all of
books
these
on my
books.
shelf I have not read.
But yeah, honestly,
You don't
that's my
actually need to
problem.
read it to put it on the
if
shelf.
my Kindle library were an actual bookshelf system, we've all seen Beauty and the Beast, right? Where she's taken to the library
yeah.
and every little girl ever witnessed their dream come true. That library is what would be needed to present my Kindle
Collection.
archive. Yeah, like it. So I do understand where y'all are coming from with the digital side of the community and our evolutionary process is killing art, more or less. Having the art representation in a physical form.
Well, me, it's more or less of just being angry that it's driving prices up on everything, and now I'm never going to be able to afford the things I really want.
Well, you just wait for the bubble to pop.
You could make the opposite argument. You could say
That's
that
so
the grading
long.
system
That's
has
not
actually driven
patient.
the prices of non-graded books down.
It has.
Yeah, so I can get New Mutants 98 for pennies as long as it's not graded,
Yeah,
Exactly.
probably. You probably can, but at the same time, when you think about and this is the thing too, okay, one thing that I missed from my childhood was when you got out the comic book, you pulled it out of the bag of the board, right? And you slide it out. You're careful with the tape when you're peeling it off.
Oh,
and
yeah,
you slide it out of the sleeve. The moment that you could open it up and that first whiff of it's like newsprint, I guess, but that paper mixed with that ink that they were using at the time is probably next to like fresh baked cherry cheesecake or something of that level. Things that I can't even say on public TV.
I've made sure.
I have
That
a question
whiff-
for you, just after you say your piece, I have a question.
But that whiff, to me, was one of the most beautiful experiences of reading the comic book. So, like, today's
That's what my
age
question was going to be
was
about.
when you open this and it's this plastic page, and it just, I don't even know what it smells like.
Like,
It doesn't smell.
how would you have read this differently if it was just on a tablet? Would this have had a different, would you have experienced this differently?
How does the appeal hit me when I'm reading things on the tablet?
Yeah, like for me, I'm gonna say if I had read this book, comic book that we're gonna review here in a bit, on a tablet, my experience of it probably wouldn't have changed. But having said that, like along with what you were saying, like there is something about like
There's no kinesis to it.
yeah.
That-
If this was an old issue of like Teen Titans, for example,
Right, which I have
there would
a lot of.
there would
those on
be
there,
something
yeah.
different about it, and I can't really put my finger on it.
The experience of it, and I'll say this, I think that my connection to the original experience of it, because I had originally my two big runs were the New Teen Titans run. I had a couple hundred issues of that. And then I had a huge collection of the Uncanny X-Men run, which went from its beginning through to the 80s. So
Now, getting back to that, like, would you collect the comics and put it on your shelves just to show everyone how, like, your intellectual heights?
I think
I've read
that
all these.
well, yeah, when you're a comic book collector and you have the big boxes.
I had the big boxes.
I've even got the Hulk size boxes
Yeah.
that go out like that far.
I'll
You
pick
can't
through
even
them.
pick it up.
I would pick through them and like revisit old.
I
stories.
love doing
Yeah.
that, and I still have a lot of them in storage. About 20 boxes that are still
That's
in
a lot
storage.
of boxes.
It's a lot of comics, and some
I
of
gave
that
all
came
mine
from.
away.
I had this cousin Michael, and he did for a long time. He was selling eBay style when it was a big thing, and
Yeah.
he was. So I sold some of my books to him. He'd sell some of his. It would be like this weird trade between us. I mean, even going back all the way to when I had the full run of Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Oh, yeah.
I had that full run, but he had the full run of the Age of Apocalypse. Now, looking at it in a collector's term, I had the better piece,
Yeah.
obviously. But in my mind, I wanted to read that whole story of Age of Apocalypse. So for me to trade, it wasn't that big of a deal because I'm not a collector to be a seller.
Yeah.
He was a collector to sell. So he got a good end on that, but
I mean, you both.
I got to
Yeah.
experience the Age of Apocalypse.
That's a good
from
trade.
beginning
Was
to
in
end.
both parties like are uplifted. Like he
Right.
gets what he wants, you get what you want.
Right, exactly. And so, I mean, eventually when we got to be older, he would give some things back to me, or he ended up getting married, and so he gave a lot of the collection to me.
So
for
no more comics.
safekeeping. Well, he has them, and he's regrowing his collection again, but it's kind of like he has a set number limit.
Yeah.
So it's like, you've collected too much, Michael. Dwindle it down again, and remember that you are a professor of philosophy.
And that
he
you're
says,
married.
Ah, yes. And so he gives them away or sells them again or something.
And speaking of boxes, there's a interesting news article happened today where James Gunn unleashed 24 cast members for Suicide Squad today. And it's
Yeah.
just a list of a lot of people. When I say boxes, because Peter Capaldi is going to be in it. Which
That's
he was
a
the,
TARDIS thing.
Do we know
It's a
who
TARDIS reference.
Capaldi is playing?
Nobody knows who anybody is playing
They just
except for
released-
Margot Robbie
Yeah, wow.
and the cast from the original movie.
I think that's actually the twist. Margot Robbie is going to be Batgirl.
No,
Batgirl
she's
in
actually
this?
confirmed to be Harley
Margot
Quinn.
Robbie.
Or Batgirl? Is
Yeah.
she in it?
No.
Why did you mention Batgirl?
They have a Birds of Prey preview. So
Is she in that?
this week,
Yeah.
Ronnie and we decided to go on a little movie adventure.
Mm-hmm.
So we took the technical IT guy that we
Mm-hmm.
use, great and powerful Dan
They
Stevens.
did not take me.
That we no, he lives in a different dimension of art and
far away.
grandeur. It's very far away. It's hard to get him. So we ended up going and we saw the movie It Chapter 2. Okay, so but before we get into that, one of the previews at the beginning of it. Now you know from being in my age group, knowing the terror of watching Tim Curry as It.
Yeah,
as
I
a
know
child,
Tim Curry is
the
it.
red floating balloon.
I was very
Okay.
sheltered.
So the red floating balloon is kind of like, in your mind, as soon as you see that, you're either thinking about the old 1980s music video.
Well, there's a couple of things I think about. But one of them is It. Another one is this really old like French film, I think.
Yeah.
Follow the Red Balloon. you
Yeah.
know, which is interesting. I never put those together with It.
But so
I wonder if
the
he
red
got that from
balloon
that.
blows up,
Yeah.
and that's the It kind of. You know that's supposed to signify Pennywise or whatever. So there's all these floating red balloons, but there's a WBDC symbol in the background. It's like, what's going on?
Weird.
Pennywise has nothing to do with DC. And then all of a sudden, this baseball bat starts smashing through them, and Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie, staying there, and she says, "I'm freaking tired of all these clowns." And it leads into the little preview of Birds of Prey. Now, if you're a comic book aficionado or interested in that community, Harley Quinn, Batgirl, the Huntress. For a little while, I think Black Canary.
Yeah, Black Canary is in it.
Is
Katana was
Poison
in it at one
Ivy, are they
point.
part of
Poison
the-
Ivy.
Yeah.
So the Birds of Prey and the Sirens of Gotham were kind of like tied together a little bit in that concept of the female, some bad, some good, but they're all working together to kind of safeguard Gotham. So I think it would be interesting to introduce a Batgirl within the Birds of Prey movie.
That would be good.
I have always really appreciated her character, the Barbara Gordon version of the character.
I'm just
Like
excited.
Oracle.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
the Oracle thing. And it was kind of sad when New 52 happened and took her back to Batgirl. So now she's no wheelchair.
Oh, she's Batgirl again.
She's just
That-
Batgirl
yeah,
again.
which is
She's
great.
young. She's gone off to be like a young Batgirl in some other
That's
city.
weird.
Well, that is
Um,
weird.
I
Is she
liked
still
it.
Gordon's daughter.
She is,
Yeah.
but she's just young again and not hurt. But you're supposed to know that she did get hurt at one point in time, but got better.
It's fine.
The New 52 kind of screwed my world up, and then so did
Yeah.
Rebirth. The soft reboots really hurt my head because you're including some information, but it's intuitive. So you, as the reader, are left on your own haunches until a writer says, yes, we're including this as canon. So it's kind of like when Dan says to me, headcanon accepted.
Yeah.
DC kind of like threw all of this stuff at me, and my headcanon backfired.
Well, I was when I last visited DC, there was multiple Supermen. Like they took aspects of different Superman versions throughout history and then kind of molded these new guys. None of them equaling like what I knew of the Superman, but each having an
You're
aspect.
Dan Jurgens Superman.
Yeah.
I was a Dan Jurgens Superman kid.
I
was
love
a,
Dan Jurgens and John Barron.
Yeah, John Barron is my Superman. That's the Superman that I think of in my mind. And so was that? That was like late '80s or
Late 80s, about to get to the 90s when Dan
Yeah.
Jurgens took over.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, for me, like, Death of Superman was one of the biggest moments of my life.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a big moment in your life.
Yeah. He was there for that. Thank you for being there
Yeah,
for me.
But yeah, it's like,
I had to
speaking
reseal
of...
that bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the Death of Superman bag. If you go back to the first episode, I explained how I had taken out the comic so I could read it, and then I got the ingenious idea as like a little kid. Well, I could put any comic book in here and then re-steal the bag, and then anyone who buys it from me would never open the bag.
Speaking of that, there are these monsters in the world that go to the store. So the big toy community thing right now is Marvel Legends.
Okay.
It's a collecting.
It's
Hasbro
bad.
puts out this series called
It's
Marvel
bad.
Legends, and so when they do this, they come out with a set of about 6 or 7 figures. And about 6 of them, usually one short of the full set, has a piece inside of it to build a figure.
Oh, a bigger figure. Yeah,
Right.
They did something
So-
similar like in the early 2000s.
Right, the Toy Biz stuff. So now what people are doing, because these boxes aren't sealed backboards anymore, they're actual open boxes.
Are they just stealing those pieces?
They're just stealing that piece
Oh my
and either
God.
leaving it there in the store with no piece in it,
Yeah.
or they take another Build-A-Figure piece that they don't want
Put
or
that
have an
in
extra
there.
of, and they put it in there.
Or they replace, like they'll find 2 packs. Say, let's see, Ella and Scourge from Thor Ragnarok. They'll replace the figure with a different figure and a completely different head. Like they
Oh, yeah.
had a
What?
one that
Yeah.
I saw was like really.
If it fits in that plastic,
Yeah.
they'll
they're
put
doing it.
Yeah.
And I don't even know, like, what about the poor parent that's out there that knows that their kid likes Marvel stuff, right?
Oh my god!
And
dude,
so there's
yeah.
grandma or mom, and she's like walking through Walgreens, and she's like, "Oh, well, little Johnny loves this." So she buys it, gives it to him, and he's like, "The hell is this?" You know, like, I mean,
But she doesn't know.
But she doesn't know.
Yeah.
So she spent all that normal price, that about $20 for a figure that's supposed to be just for hypothetical. This is supposed to be Captain America, but somebody took an old beat up. What's a really crappy character you wouldn't want?
Toad.
But something way off the wall.
Toad?
Yeah, something off the wall. Maybe like a G.I. Joe or a Star Wars figure, and
There you
just
go,
slips
Star
it in
Wars
there.
Figures. No one
Ice
wants.
Cream Man, Star Wars.
Yeah,
Ice
what the
cream.
heck? What is this about? So, anyway, that's been going on. I witnessed it today.
But you saw someone steal one of the figures?
I didn't see them do it.
You saw the results.
I saw the results of it. I'm on a Facebook page that's actually called Action Figure Junkies. Check it out if you're into that sort of stuff. It's a great page, but a lot of the collector community gets on there and tells people, and they'll say the Build-A-Figure monster hit again, and they'll show where like a Hulk piece was missing or something.
Yeah.
But I actually saw it in the wild today, and it kind of appalled me. I was like, you got to be kidding me! What kind of a person are you? Be like the rest of us. Spend exorbitant amounts of money to fulfill your dreams. Don't steal other people's dreams to fulfill your dreams.
You know what used to appall me was I had a friend that was a collector of robots and stuff like that, and he's got a big collection. And,
like real ones, or just
well, they're not like
RoboCop
Transformers,
and
you know, stuff like
Transformers.
that,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And something similar would happen, like where you would get people who would get a side job working at a Toys R Us, and when the shipment came in,
They would hoard the good
hoard
stuff.
them and then sell them online. So
Yeah.
you, as a customer, I'm going to go on run to see what's out there, and only Bumblebee.
Yeah.
Aisles and aisles of Bumblebee, because like the good stuff was already pilfered through by the
Right.
employees, and it was
Like
just this-
you know that your cousin Danny loves Cheetor.
Yeah,
It's
He-Man.
Beast Wars, and he wants Cheetor. Like that's the one figure he wants. And so you go to every single store with your mother, and you're like, no, Danny only wants the cheetah that turns into the robot.
Yeah.
He doesn't want the rat. I want the rat. So I got it. I got the rat.
The rat's cool.
The rat was the coolest
Yeah,
one.
Rat
But
Trap.
Danny loved Cheetor. So I went searching. I think I finally got him the one with green eyes.
I might still have a Cheetor.
But I got him the second-rate repaint.
Yeah, it was the repainted.
It was the
Tigatron.
repainted Tigatron to be Cheetor. So I never actually found him the original Cheetor.
Well, a good example, I just thought of it, was like the old He-Man figures. Not the old ones, just the old ones.
Some of the 2000 ones.
The 2000 ones. So, like, each crate or box would come with, like, you got Merman, you got 5 Skeletors and 10 He-Man, right? Merman's the coolest.
He's such the coolest.
So what
gonna
would
attack you
happen
with
is,
his
like,
sword.
there's one Merman per, like, shipment, and there's a billion He-Men, and, like, about half as many Skeletor and some
Yeah,
T-Rex
Merman
thrown.
never ended up on the pegs.
It never did, because the people working there, or you'd have people, like, waiting for the delivery truck.
Yeah,
They go in,
some
they buy
old
up all the
collector
Mermen.
man sitting outside the store
Yes, old man.
between the truck and the back of the store, going, "Nope, that's mine."
Oh no!
So the only place you
That's-
could find
it's-
Merman was
I might do
online
that.
Yeah,
at,
it's
like,
not like that
exorbitant
because
prices.
stores are open 24 hours now. So when you see the pellet come out, you can just walk by and get it. That's how I got Mace Windu. I opened a box, went. Boop.
I would love a Mace Windu. The only Mace Windu thing I ever got, somebody gave to me, was a pin. It was a little Mace Windu pin.
Like a pin, like you pin to your
No, like a writing
Oh, like a
pin.
writing
Yeah, and so like it was just him, and he had like a little
purple,
pin,
like a light up
yeah.
lightsaber. That's
No,
cool.
but it was
No?
like a purple ink, but it was a pin.
Okay.
But they only got it for me because they knew I'm a huge Samuel L. Jackson fan.
Yeah.
I could care less if he was Mace Windu. It's Mace Windu with Samuel L. Jackson. That's what matters. So they gave it to me, and I was delighted. I've never actually seen a Mace Windu action figure.
Yeah, it's because it's really hard to find. Almost as hard to find as what was it? Was a figure. I don't even know if they made a '90s Nightwing figure or not for DC Universe Classics. The Teen Titans.
Oh, the one with the golden
Yeah, I don't think
arch
they made.
across.
But I do remember it being really hard to find Nightwing in the blue.
Yeah, but see,
Wave 3.
there
And
was
Deathstroke was really hard to find too.
there was a point in time when they came out with DC Direct.
Mm-hmm.
When DC Direct hit, and they were doing just specific storylines for collector figures, and you really had to order those.
Yeah, absolutely.
You had to either go to your comic shop and ask him to order it for you, which Jason at Comic Seller usually would do that for you. If you
Oh,
knew.
Jason's awesome.
He was a great guy. Comic Seller's a great place. If you live local to Memphis, check out Comic Seller. It's great.
It's actually just called the Cellar now.
Is it just called the Seller now?
Yeah, and it's on Sycamore View.
Yeah. They've moved a few times, but they still exist, so go check them out. Still go into your local comic book stores. Still support the community. And that money, that retail, that's still what keeps that community alive. So just picture yourself as an archaeologist. You're going out to dig for something that's old, and you're going to love it because of that classic nature. So still go do those things.
Is it comic seller as in basement cellar?
Yes.
Or as
Yeah,
a
yeah, the
selling?
cellar.
He originally was in an old bank vestibule.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he built the store inside of. And then they had to
Yeah.
move that over. Anyway, there's a long story behind
Yeah.
that. But it was a great thing. When I was growing up, I'd ride my bike there, and he always had everything that I ever needed. He even would sell me like the Dragon Ball comic books that he would get. And he was like, nobody else is buying these, but you love them, and I don't know why. But here you go, kid.
I always felt special when I went to a comic book shop and they gave me
They knew what I wanted.
the free previews, which is supposed to be free.
Oh, yeah.
But then some places try and sell it to you, which is
Oh.
ridiculous. And I always felt really special when they would give me like their last copy, because they don't get a whole bunch.
Yeah.
The one thing that I had to get off eBay were the remember the archive book, DC Archives?
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to find volume 1 or 2 in the wild. It was the new Teen Titans books.
Now,
Yeah.
see, I was lucky enough to actually own those. My father had collected those. It was one of the greatest runs that they ever did, and that is on
Gave
top.
them away.
The Teen Titans I did.
I thought you gave the new Teen Titans away.
Not the new Teen Titans. That I didn't give away. I would have to find where I have them
Trade.
hoarded right now. The Uncanny X-Men run I did trade.
Oh, that's
also
what you
on.
traded.
Yeah.
For the Age of Apocalypse.
Whoa, no, that was the Infinite Earths.
Oh, okay, Crisis.
So Crisis
right.
on Infinite Earths, I had that whole collection. But for as far as the new Teen Titans, I had about 150 issues of the straight
That's
run.
a significant book.
Yeah, it was a great book actually, and I think that really the two of those correlated because when new Teen Titans happened, it was like a reformation of the old original 5-member team. The 5-member team didn't really do that great on sales and critique, but this reformation of them, where they introduced solid new characters such as Raven, Cyborg,
yeah.
Starfire. They took the Changeling over, made him Beast Boy, and
That
introduced
roster
him.
is kind of maintained.
That has
Yeah.
maintained, just
And
like
it's written by Marv Wolfman with art by
With
George
George
Perez.
Perez.
It's beautiful.
beautiful
George
stuff.
Perez.
I love it though, but that was one of the best runs, and see that reminded me of when the X-Men switched over from the old original 5-member team. They introduced to what us now we would believe is the core team, like Storm, Nightcrawler, Colossus. But that happened around the same time. So for me, those two books were very paralleled.
Oh yeah, with that, what did that start with? The giant size number
Giant
one.
size number
Yeah.
1, and they had all these X-Men.
Oh, I want that issue.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you have
So
it?
anyway, we won't inspire jealousy among people. I don't want to be choked or throttled or made fun of for what I sold in my life. But so
You gave it
when
away for Age of Apocalypse.
I didn't trade everything for the Age of Apocalypse. For something here and there, probably. But I'm an artist. I collect art. I collect what I can put in here. So if I can feed off of it and put that into my own stuff and make it a part of myself, that's what I do. And that's why I love this Kindle thing, just because I can absorb all the information and storylines that were broken for me over time. So like with the Teen Titans, if I had all the way up to issue 95, but then I was missing 3 issues, and then I had issue 99 or something like that. Well, what happened there? What little itty bitty story plot lines happened
It's
there?
like you missed an episode of a show you're watching, and you kind of like
Right.
were able to pick up and carry on. But
Yeah.
then there's that one episode you haven't seen.
But I really don't know. Maybe the reference back to it, you had that little asterisk put in there, and it
Yeah.
says refer back to issue 94.
Or there'd be a
or 96
subplot
or
that
something.
was contained only in
What
that issue.
happened? Or that was a costume change issue.
Yeah.
But Nightwing changed from Robin to Nightwing. Oh, you could be freaking. No, I had that one. But so this Kindle thing has given me the opportunity to go back through my life of all these really important storylines that I created the bridge plots for myself, and I was pretty good at knowing what happened and how the plot went and everything. But now I can go back and really read through not only with George Perez's artwork, but when they're telling the story, because there was actually an issue before issue number 1 that was like a special premiere thing that I'd never read.
Like a preview issue.
It was a preview issue, and that was really cool to read. So that's what the digital stuff has done for me, is given me some things that just I never would have found any other way. And reading the Teen Titans, in my opinion, as far as DC Comics goes, and you can get mad at me or disagree, but I think that the Teen Titans is the solid stable of all of DC Comics. I don't think that the Justice League is as solid a team as the Teen Titans. And has been proven with the new 52 restructure, they even had to take a Teen Titan away from the Teen Titans just to make the Justice League Foundation stronger. Cyborg is now no longer a Teen Titan, but we know he is.
Yeah,
every
that's
fan knows he
weird.
is.
That's really weird that they had him as a founding member of the Justice League.
But
They
it
should've-
made that new 52 version really work.
I know, but he should have still been Teen Titans, man. It's
He
that's
should.
where he's
Well, how
from.
old is he by now? He's got to be.
No,
Like
he's
in
the
his 50s.
he's the youngest
He's
member of the
ageless.
Justice League, so he's this teenager that's on the Justice League, and you're just supposed to understand that. And the Teen Titans got rebooted. There was actually so if
Is he
like
the leader, like, or of the Teen Titans?
No, Robin was usually the leader.
every single time you have a Robin, they're the leader.
Yeah,
Is Damian on the Teen Titans?
He is now.
Is
he
the
is
leader?
now.
So since Rebirth, he has a Teen Titans team, which, okay. Let me get there in a second.
back up.
So let's go back to when you may have seen the Teen Titans for yourself first starting out. There was old Filmation cartoons, which if you saw them in your life, you'd be like, whoa, what's going on? Some sort of weird
Yeah, this is the art I
devilry.
Yeah.
my living room. But
so,
like this big.
and of course, as fans, we're not going to care the fact of what's going on with Aqualad and Kid Flash and why is Wonder Girl staring at it. We're going to worry about what, Ronnie?
what is going on with Kid Flash's color scheme? Why does he have black hair?
Why is his color? Why are his
Oh,
colors
wait, he
inverted?
has black
Why is he?
hair? I
Why does
thought
he have
that was-
black hair?
I thought that was a beret.
Why is Wally West wearing a beret?
I mean, that's
And
just a
it's not
valid question, I
raspberry.
guess.
Where's Robin? If Robin had been there, he would have fixed whatever was going on here.
Maybe
So
it looks like they've messed up and they're afraid that Robin's going to find out.
yeah. Oh no! Don't tell Robin.
Yeah.
And
I don't
Speedy's
know,
like,
it's-
"Well, I'm basically Robin," and everybody's like, "No, you're not." That's
I
like
just
saying
have
the
to
Green
keep
Arrow's
this
Batman.
PG-13, so I can't comment on that picture
Yeah.
anymore.
So, but honestly, that might have been your first introduction to some of these characters. Is the old cartoon Saturday morning cartoon blocks, and that was a great way to get introduced to some things. I loved Superpowers and Super Friends.
Oh, Super Friends was great.
Oh yeah, that was great.
This looks like a job for Superpowers.
yeah,
And
Galactic Guardians,
Who-
and Firestorm, and Cyborg. That was
who
great.
enjoyed? Okay, this will be my question for you. Did you enjoy more Marvin Windy or the Wonder Twins?
We got a
You
bit
know?
of Wonder Twins right
Because
there.
we remember Marvin Windy, right?
Not really.
Okay, so they were just two. They didn't have any powers. They
The
were just
Wonder
basically.
Twins, they're the ones with the water,
either of
form of
those.
water.
I watched
They were the
Galactic
purple ones.
Guardians,
Wonder
and
Twins
Superpowers
powers
with Firestorm.
activate. Form of a purple eagle.
Yeah, pretty much
Form
anything
of a bucket
water.
of water.
It's always a bucket of water.
Yeah.
Now, is it also?
He was a tidal wave one
I
time.
did
Was
not
it the
like Marvin
bucket,
Windy.
or is it just the water?
He's just the water. The bucket's just so that the eagle, his sister, could carry him in the bucket.
So are they just always carrying around a bucket?
Yeah, so he can be there.
They just have a bucket all the time,
To me-
just in case.
The I think the monkey Blippo would
Gleek.
carry Gleek. That's his
Gleek.
name. Blippo was the one from Superman, right? Oh, anyway.
Wait, was it Gleek or is no? Or is
I think it might have been Gleek. I think you're right, actually.
Actually,
So good
can
correction.
someone please look that up?
Who is the monkey for the Wonder Twins?
'Cause I
Look
think
that up
Gleek-
and let us
I think
know.
Gleek might be from Space Ghost
No,
because there's a monkey on Space Ghost as well.
no. Yeah,
He was evil though, right?
yeah.
No, he was good.
No.
I don't know.
That's Powerpuff Girls. You're all
Yeah.
off the page.
Gleek is the blue alien
Gleek.
monkey.
You know what? I think we've had this argument
And
before.
I,
I'm gonna have to go
I
back
don't
into our archive, watch some old
Let's wait.
episodes because I
Well-
think this argument's happened already.
we haven't
Actually,
reviewed
it's
this
Super
yet
Friends.
though.
Super Friends. Yeah, that's the same
Super
thing.
Friends
yeah.
is where that would come from.
Yeah, Wonder Twins were on the Super Friends.
So, but anyway, that might have been your introduction to it, and then you thought to yourself, I'm going to convince Mom to take me to the comic book store, and I'm going to find an issue of the Teen Titans. So you would have seen the original Silver Age Teen Titans had you been old enough, and that would have consisted of the core cast, which was the original 5 members, which would have been Robin, Dick Grayson, the Wonder Boy, the original Robin. Some people opinionate that he's the only Robin. there's 10 more Robins after him, so whatever, whoever your preference is. And then you had Donna Troy, Wonder Girl. You had Aqualad, played by Garth.
Wally West.
You had Wally West, played by the Kid Flash, and you had Speedy. Roy Harper being the Green Arrow sidekick. And if you're unlucky enough to be called Speedy and not be the Flash's sidekick, and also be Green Arrow's sidekick, you eventually do heroin. Which is true, because then we moved on. Yeah, we moved on to the new Teen Titans. And when we moved on to the new Teen Titans, as we said before, one of the greatest runs, they actually had some issues where they had to deal with drugs within the teen community. They had issues. Yeah. These kids actually had issues now. Yeah. That's one of the great things about reading the new Teen Titans. Very akin to how Stan Lee would present things in the Marvel side of the world. So when you read Uncanny X-Men, it's not just a superhero team.
It's like
a lot of issues. It's a soap opera.
Personal drama.
There were issues where you don't see them for a while in their costume.
Well, I mean, that's what really drives narrative, is the human personal drama. Everything else is just stage dressing.
Right. And so even the battles sometimes wouldn't even occur. One of my favorite issues of all time was actually an Uncanny X-Men issue where Wolverine takes out Colossus and Nightcrawler. They go to the bar because Colossus is upset because he broke Kitty Pryde's heart.
Takes him out for a night of
He takes him out for a night of man drinking.
Him out.
So as they're sitting at the bar, Logan's basically telling Colossus that he screwed up by breaking her heart and moving on. And he's like, but you don't understand, in Mother Russia. Anyway, he's sad about something or other.
Heart to break you.
Well, King Marco, the Juggernaut, not as the Juggernaut, but just as himself, wanting to get a drink, comes walking in.
Wait, does he not have his helmet on?
Nope, he's just wearing some normal clothes.
Why isn't he just wearing that all the time?
Well, he wanted to just go out and have drinks and meet some ladies.
He can't. He's the Juggernaut.
He's super buff. He can totally meet ladies.
Well, I mean, like he's vulnerable.
Well, only to a psychic.
Okay.
That helmet only protects him from mental people.
You're right.
Anyway, he walks into the bar. Logan notices it. And so basically stages a fight between Colossus and Juggernaut by bumping him into him.
Oh, trying to get him to get out of his funk.
Right. So then Juggernaut and Colossus start just going to Pound Town. They're going at it with each other. And Nightcrawler's like, oh God, we must help. And Logan's like, nope, sure don't have to, and pushes him back into his chair, and he's like, this is this kid's fight, and he's going to learn his lesson. And so Colossus gets trashed by the Juggernaut.
Oh, man.
And after it's all over with, Logan walks up, and he's like, you ever break her heart again? But that was just the coolest part of that issue. It had nothing to do with superhero antics, not really.
So basically Wolverine was just going to let him get beat up because he was mad at him.
Yeah, and he knew he wasn't going to be able to beat him up.
Yeah, I can't do that because Kitty probably would be mad at me.
Plus, I can't do that. Yeah. If I hit Colossus, it's not going to do anything.
Well, he's got adamantium. You can't...
At that time, we were fully of the belief, headcanon-wise, that the claws would not cut through the organic steel. But anyway, that's irrelevant at this point. We'll argue that in the X-Men. But that was a lot of what happened in the Teen Titans, was a lot of that stuff. Roy Harper was addicted to heroin. They had to deal with that. Robin had a lot of angst towards Batman. Kid Flash thought he was in love with Raven because she put a spell on him so that he would join the team.
Oh, man.
Oh, it was all sorts of messed up. Cyborg was super depressed because he was a cyborg.
And
he used to be a great athlete.
That's another thing. Yeah. They were all teenagers, so they're all super depressed.
Yeah, they all had these weird little story arcs and weird contrived things, but they were teenagers.
It must be so easy to write teenagers.
Coriander, Starfire. She's a teenager, but she's a rebel teenager from outer space.
Well, you could write stuff completely out of character, and it's in character if they're a teenager. Yeah. They'll have these mood swings,
Oh, yeah. Why did they do that? Or
why did they do that? They're a teenager.
The storyline when they picked up an extra character, her name was Tara. And Beast Boy was super in love with her, head over heels, always obsessed with her, just like the nerd at the back of the class that sees the cheerleader walk in, or the goth girl, and he's like, oh, she's my new favorite thing in the world. He's in love with her. Nothing could be wrong with her. But she's working secretly for Deathstroke.
Uh-oh.
And betrays the whole team. Yeah. It's the Judas Contract, one of the greatest story arcs they had. And so... in this, they all find out. And it breaks Beast Boy's heart. You know, that's one of the biggest selling points on the whole book is how much it breaks his heart about this. And not just the fact that this one-eyed, crazy soldier dude named Deathstroke is trying to kill them, but the fact that they got betrayed by one of their own. And she's like, oh, there's so much messed up with that story. I'm not even going to go into it. But she was like in love with Deathstroke. So anyway, he's like 50. She was like 14. Yeah. But
he might
that
be a
doesn't
little
come up
bit
a
too
lot.
old.
Brother was Geoforce, so that's interesting.
Right. So.
But I thought Deathstroke just looked old. But he's
No,
actually
No.
he is old.
He is old.
He is old.
He maintains himself because he's basically Captain America.
Yep.
He's got a super soldier serum.
Yep.
But
Basically.
didn't make him look old. I don't know. I have.
The white hair and everything happens over time. He's just gained that over time by actually aging. But his
okay.
muscle structure, his body, everything about him stays as resilient because he's a super soldier.
90% of his brain or something like that?
Yes. Yeah, he can
Oh,
use
that old trope.
Yeah.
I use 100% of my brain.
Well, he can multitask.
Yeah.
So like he can use this percentage of his brain to do one thing while he's thinking about something else over here. He's
yeah, they
multitasking
say that you
all
can't
the time.
actually do that. You know.
They say you can't, but
But
if
you
you live in a
can.
comic book and
Yeah.
you've had the super soldier serum introduced to you, you can, and you can survive a gunshot to the eyeball.
Actually, you know, I do think you can. I mean, I know.
We'll have to call Neil deGrasse Tyson and see how he weighs.
No, we
in.
need his input on a
Oh, yeah.
question I have for this comic.
Well, for real quick, before we get to that, let's fast forward through some of the time. Jeff Johns did some drawing or some writing on the Teen Titans for a while. One of the greatest runs. Introduced Superboy, our clone, who I miss this character in the new 52. They've completely just obliterated this character and
Yeah.
sent him to the winds. But that Superboy was one of my favorite characters. That was a
Same.
great
He
iteration.
was introduced with the death of Superman. He was
Yeah,
Right.
it's the same one.
And this was the
Metropolis
fulfillment
Kid.
of this character was that we find out that the cloning structure that was used to keep his Kryptonian DNA together
Yeah.
was Lex Luthor. So his fathers are
It's
Lex
Lex.
Luthor and Superman.
Wow.
He's got My Two Dads issues.
So
then
he doesn't
we had the
exist
Tim
anymore.
Drake Robin, who we no longer really have that much of anymore.
Yeah. Well, he became a somewhat like other character, like
He's now like the Red Robin.
The
Now
Red
he's called
Robin.
the Drake,
Yeah.
or the Magical Duck, or
The Drake, which is
the
the
Duck. He's the Duck now.
But
But
the Drake is the most dangerous bird out there. Yeah, it's a duck. Quack,
yeah,
quack, get out of here.
that was. I had his first appearance.
that Kid
Oh, no,
Flash
here
right
comes
there was
Rob.
actually
Here comes
called
Drake
Impulse
wobbling
for
at
a
me.
while.
Oh yeah.
The
I
grandson
remember
of
that.
the original Barry Allen before Barry Allen came back. So this was a great run. This was when Cyborg was actually leading the team, and he was trying to raise all of these younger
no longer a
generations.
teenager. Cyborg.
Right, and so,
Yeah.
but they had another run called the Titans at the time. But anyway, and then we move forward in history to when the New 52 and Rebirth soft reboots changed the whole world. So this is where I was talking about before. That's Damian Wayne.
Yeah, he's the new.
That's his Robin. His way of bringing that team together, which consists of Starfire and Raven and Beast Boy, and you're not supposed to believe that they were ever a part of the original Teen Titans.
Yeah, and
Right.
that's because that's the Wally West from the New 52 universe.
No, the Kid Flash there is
That's Wally
the
West.
new Wally West, not the old Wally West,
Right.
but they coexist.
They do.
So
And
it's-
that's the new Aqualad that came from the Young Justice cartoon.
he was really popular in that, but that came from Jackson Hyde, which was in the Brightest Day run. So they got that from that, and then take that and then move it into this. The style changed, but the
Okay.
characterization,
Sounds complicated.
it was DC makes things complicated on purpose.
It's
But so this is the new Teen Titans that's been presented to us, which is running concurrently with another book, which is called Titans, which has Nightwing, the original Wally West.
So it's the
Roy
original
Harper.
Teen Titans,
Yeah,
basically.
but they're a lot more gritty and cool. That's
They're not-
actually a fun book to
They're not
read.
teens anymore.
This is a great book to read, though, if you're into some antics, because Damian Wayne puts this team together by
Oh, gosh.
kidnapping all of these people and forcing them to be on his team.
That sounds like something Damian Wayne would
It
do.
was amazing. I love Damian Wayne. So everything he does is just fun for me.
So,
I
like,
think he is the
do
best.
they know
Robin.
him as Damian Wayne?
Eventually.
So
He doesn't care that much. He'll walk around without his mask
Do
on.
they also
he doesn't
know
understand that whole thing. He thinks he should be recognized as the most dangerous
Well,
person
yeah.
in the world.
He's
Yep.
very dangerous. But do they make the connection with Bruce Wayne and Batman?
Oh, they know. Yeah, he doesn't care about releasing the secret.
Yeah.
He doesn't think that there's any reason. He just wears the Robin stuff because it symbolizes what he's learning from Batman. But now he has this big monster bat thing that goes around with him as his pet too. It's some strange stuff that happened with Damian Wayne, but he is just a fun character to follow if you like that. In my world, Red Hood and Damian Wayne are the two best Robins.
You know, I would like to see, and this is, I'm just throwing this out there because I want to read it. Future version of Damian Wayne travels back in time for whatever reasons Damian Wayne would travel back in time, and so you have like some alternate potential future, fully grown, fully matured, like trained.
There are some books you could read where that sort of stuff has been happening, not necessarily through time travel, through clone progression, and also through nightmares. Read the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo run of Batman. Has a lot to do with some
Greg
Damian
Capullo.
Wayne stuff. Oh, I love it. But anyway, there was some great stuff with Damian Wayne being Batman as an adult.
Oh, and how he
He
portrays him.
destroyed so much stuff. He like caused the apocalypse.
And speaking of Titans, there's a live action TV series that's out
Well,
right
before
now.
we get to that, though, let's go through how they introduced this stuff to us. So we remember the whole Filmation stuff, but then, of course, Cartoon Network came along and they presented us with a new Teen Titans show, which was very anime, kind
very
of
good.
quirky. It was good.
I enjoyed it.
It was funny. It had its funny, quirky moments, but it was a good show. Kind of had a stable plot line. I loved watching that.
It reminded me of
I've-
the DC Ultimate Justice League.
Right, the unlimited.
I got a confession.
Unlimited, yeah.
What's
I've
your
only
confession?
seen 1 or 2 episodes of the Teen
It's
Titans cartoon.
worth watching. It was really good. They had some solid characterization in there. They had plot lines. They had emotional growth. They had story arcs. Slade was kind of scary. They never called him
here's-
Deathstroke.
That was why I never watched it. 'Cause
It
I'm
was a
big
really cool
Deathstroke
Slade.
fan, and it's like there's like his name is Slade, and I'm like, well, this is stupid. I'm not watching it.
You got to get over it. It's good to watch. So go ahead and get over that. Watch that. That's good for you. It's like eating your carrots.
And
But
then there's something that's
of
not
course,
good for you.
then they realized in Cartoon Network world, Adult Swim was getting really famous with things like Aqua Teen Hunger Force and
We are the Aqua Teen.
just basically
Yeah.
people who sat at home and watched cartoons but shouldn't. They're not kids anymore, and
That was me.
they smoke too many things that aren't legal.
I know
that
it's
was
coming.
me.
I'm not looking at.
So
I can't
they
look at
changed it
this.
to this: Teen
Yeah.
Titans Go,
I never watched this.
as in go away.
Yeah.
I've actually
Yes.
now I've got a confession. I've actually watched a lot of it because my kids got really into it. I think that there are 2 to 3 episodes that are worth your time, and that all has to do with Cyborg listening to a cassette tape. But he listens to this old band, and it gives him superpowers and belief in himself. And they have this song and a music video that goes along with it called "Night Begins to Shine." I've got that song on my phone because my kids love to listen to it. And the classic style that they animated the episode into to make it into a 1980s punk music video
Yeah.
is just so fun to watch. But it didn't have that bad animation.
Yeah, it's to me. It's like actually back when I worked at Game Exchange and we could rent movies for free. I felt ripped off when I rented the Teen Titans Go to the movie for free. Now it did have a couple of funny jokes in it. Yeah, I mean some things were hilarious, but
I paid too much for this.
80% of it I didn't enjoy.
There was
it.
actually
I mean,
a really funny thing. And like I said, I hate the show. I really don't think it's great, but there are some funny things in it, like where Robin has his
Yeah.
bow staff. He comes up to all of them and he says, "Staff meeting!" And he just starts smacking them in the heads with the staff.
there's some
It makes
fun-
no sense, but it was just funny for the moment.
There's some funny
Kids love
things on
pilots.
there, but it's
Who doesn't? Yeah, Looney Tunes
I don't
proved
know.
that. So anyway, that's your track record of
So I
how
should
they've
never
been
watch this show.
how they've been giving
fun.
you silver screen Teen Titans. So now we move to where the DCEU, which is also known for making the best decisions in quality, has made a live action TV show only premiered on their DC Universe app.
Which is why I haven't seen it.
I paid the money for the subscription. I am not asking for the money back, but I am not going to renew. I don't think a lot of their quality content has been high quality, but this was an interesting iteration of the Teen Titans. Ronnie, go ahead, let it out. Let it out. Say what you want
You
to
love
say.
this show, right?
Huh? I don't love it. I like it a lot.
I think it's fun to watch the character
Yeah, it's fun.
because you love the
It's-
character.
The first season, okay. The first season was okay. I thought it was overly gritty, overly dark for no reason.
Cussing for no reason.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it just seemed like they were just having fun. It's like, oh, we're gonna make this person cuss. We're gonna make this person drop the F-bomb.
We're going to make it the
over here and
Deadpool
there.
version of the Teen Titans, but without humor.
Yeah, and it's like some of it was
Gratuitous cussing.
I mean,
Gratuitous cussing.
I mean, the first season was just, I don't know. The second season was like what it is. Okay.
Have you watched anything beyond the first episode of the second season yet?
Not yet. I haven't seen the second episode yet. I'm planning on watching
So
it
you've
tonight.
seen the original last episode of the first season.
Yes, original. That's how I feel about that.
It is wonky. It's
But-
timey-wimey.
I think season 2 should just be called Course Correction.
Course correction, maybe. I don't know. I'm
Because
really interested in
our-
seeing episode 2. It's titled Rose.
Our
haven't
boy's
seen
in there
any of
though. Connor
Deathstroke.
Kent
Oh yeah, no, he's going to show up. Superboy's going to show up. So
That was cool.
and
It all
Aqualad
seems-
as well.
Yeah.
Garth is going to show up.
Now to sidetrack, I was just reminded of that Superboy show from like the late.
Oh yeah,
80s,
Gerard
early-
Christopher. Yeah, and
No.
no. First season was John.
I love that show for some reason. I haven't seen it since, so
James
it might not
Newton or
hold
I
up.
something
can't
like
do
that?
that. I'll watch Lois and Clark all day long, but I can't do that.
Can't do that?
I can't.
What
I
about
really can't.
Smallville? You like Smallville?
I did. I'm going to tell you that I watched it like it was crack cocaine,
yeah.
addictively.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed
Michael
the crap
Rosenbaum.
out of it. If I go back
Fantastic.
and watch it,
It's a WB show.
it
right?
doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But the acting, okay, to give you this, that Titans show that they've been giving us,
Yeah.
and we don't have to go back to the picture, but that Titans show that they've been giving us, the quality is on par with that Smallville show.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
yet, acting as if they
Like 2
had
decades
given
later.
it so much money, when we know that the Disney Plus shows coming out for the Marvel Cinematic Universe
my
are
God.
actually going to be like movie funded.
They're gonna
Yes.
blow.
It's going
all
to
this
blow
away.
all this away. We're not going to care anymore. One of the things that we did over the past 2 weeks
3DO
was
Trigon.
we watch the Titans show and be upset for yourself. I just can't. It's going to have.
It's going to get better. It's
And
gonna
I'll
get
watch
better.
anything with Deathstroke, and I'll collect
Yeah,
any
you guys
Deathstroke
haven't
figure
sold
there
me
is.
on it, so.
I'll bootleg it for you. No, I'm just kidding, DC.
We'll have to get you to come over sometime.
So this is a book that our producer went out and picked up for us. He got 3 copies for us, so we could just take it home, read it. If
did
you
not
can
bootleg
see,
it.
it is
We
called
bought it.
"The Sea of Stars." All right, and this is in issue 1. Jason Aaron is
on
the
the
artist,
nose. I
or
just
no,
realized
Jason
it.
Aaron's the writer. Dennis Hallam, I believe, is. What are you doing, Dennis Hallam? I don't know. He's also a co-writer, and then Stephen Green's the artist. And I believe, in my opinion, after reading
color.
this, the colorist Rico Renzi, you sir are the star of the show in this.
Absolutely.
The art, the lines are clean. The panels are pretty easy to follow. They're well structured. Some of the writing, I don't know if I really agree with the strokes that the writers took. Maybe because there's 2 writers, they kind of like battled each other on
it
some
felt
choices.
okay.
There's not a whole lot of story.
With some of the terms in there and stuff like that, I felt like the character. Okay, let me see if you got this feeling from it as well. The mutant gang from Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
That's what they felt like. They
With
were
the
talking
weird
about.
slang. Yeah, there's some weird slang in here, which I get. You're trying
Space
to.
farts.
Yeah, you're trying to like give it that quality of something out there.
But I digress. It's a very beautiful book, though. The art was
honestly, though,
phenomenal.
the colorist, because the art's good, but the colorist does
Yeah,
this
that's
effect
what I mean.
where you can see, like here, I'm inside the spaceship. It's got these cool blues, kind of a shaded gray tone to it. It's kind of like a dank inside of a spaceship, right? But then, all of a sudden, like an explosion, you know that there's outside the spaceship because it's like this bright purple vibrant pink, all these great colors. And the colorist just does a great job of making that a reality for you, inside, outside the
I like
spaceship.
the space is not just dark.
Right.
It's
It's-
not even
it's
like dark with
vibrant.
some interesting.
They need
like,
to nab this
interstellar
guy
stuff,
from
but-
Fourth World stuff, man.
This guy would be great, like
The
Kirby.
Kirby stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
Kirby
his
Fourth World?
Kirby-esque, like he had to have been a fan of that.
Absolutely.
So, like I said, the storyline, it's a first issue, so maybe give it a chance to build. It's probably one of those types of things.
You want to bring up any nitpicking that you have?
I don't want to nitpick at them too much because they worked on it and they got it published. They've done more than I have in my life. But I'm not going to say that the authorship is that great. Some of it confuses me as far as you're not selling me on why I want to buy this again. But if you continue to have Rico Renzi get work, I am willing to help support him as a colorist. I want him to get around more. He's amazing. Like if he could go work for Guardians of the Galaxy, I would read that.
Put him
book.
on some
man.
cosmic stuff.
Yeah, cosmic
Marvel.
stuff.
He needs cosmic
Just
stuff.
Yeah.
good job on the coloring, dude. And Stephen Green, you did a great job with your lines. Very clean. The panel work was very clean. You got good splashes going on here and there that I thought were really well done. I just don't know if I buy into Cork Sharks and Stellar Winds and Solar Winds.
That was my nitpick.
Yeah.
And it really is a nitpick. So there's this point at which the father, yeah, he's a
The
father.
trucker. He's a trucker.
He's a space trucker.
He's a space trucker.
An incredibly original idea, by the way. Yeah, it's just this book to me isn't full of a whole lot of original ideas,
But it is full of great.
but it does have potential, and I say that not having read any of the follow-ups, and they could lead to amazing places. So it's a good setup for that, but it is basically a generic setup.
It's very generic.
So it could go literally from anywhere.
But you know, I mean,
But,
if you had read issue 1 of The Walking Dead,
yeah, it's just another zombie.
yeah,
you
you
know.
probably would have thought very generic and not really what I'm going to be into. And then all of a sudden, the whole world changed because of The Walking Dead.
But
People's
my,
grandmothers are watching it.
My nitpick with this was when the father figure was talking to his son about how they're going to be traveling the solar wind back to Earth. And I thought for a second, I was like, wait a second, solar wind. That's our sun. That's our sun's like stellar wind. And so, like, how could you travel by our own sun, our own stars?
So
wind
what he's getting at,
back to Earth?
what he's getting at is that stars create stellar wind. This is the science of it. Our sun, being called Sol, as its name is Sol,
It's stellar wind.
creates
called
solar winds because that's its name. So it's like I'm a human, I create human winds, but because
He
my name
does.
is Tony, they're Tony
Tony
winds.
winds.
It's my Tony tingle going off. Anyway, yes, that's an issue.
Yeah, so like
Neil deGrasse Tyson, sir,
we need
since
his
we
help.
know that you're watching, we're going to
settle
hashtag
it.
your name like 50 times. Please, Neil deGrasse Tyson, if you can help us understand this issue and maybe even co-star on our show, we would love to have you. Please don't steal my
the
girlfriend from
science
me.
of comic books.
Yeah. Ooh, dude, Neil deGrasse Tyson comes on and just does a few episodes with us, a little panel work, and just call that the science of comic books. And he can explain how he thinks
How
it
it's
breaks
all
down.
wrong,
There's
basically.
YouTube channels out there that do it, but they don't have Neil deGrasse Tyson. Please, sir, help us out. We love you. Now, but overall, the way I want to wrap this up, talking about the Teen Titans and how we've gone over the topic of this show, I think for all of us, you know, well, maybe at least most of us, you know, because I can't speak for everybody in the world, but we typically try to move through life finding a place of belonging or trying to find out who we are, find ourselves, you know, and I think that we get lost on that sometimes because we lose the fact that the people that you experience that journey with, the people that are with you along that path, if you forget to look at them, you're not really realizing who you are because it's those experiences, it's those friendships, those your friends, your enemies, your lovers. Those are the people that make you who you are. Your experiences with them, how you treat them, how you respond to them, how you receive them. And I think that with what we've talked about today, the core of the Teen Titans, the core of Uncanny X-Men, things of that nature, these teenagers, these coming-of-age stories, those are really what those books are about, in my opinion. Not just the drama behind them, because that does make it interesting.
What builds their character?
It builds their character. Exactly. Those correlations, those relationships, those stories that you go through with each other. That's what builds your character as a person. And I think that that's what we should learn from this modern mythos. So for me, who am I without my friends here with me to do this thing? The friends that are behind the panel, the friends who help remind us what time it is, the friends who help remind us to stay on track, the friends who believe in us and support us along the way. That's what makes us who we are. So as you go through life and you enter college and you're doing whatever you're doing or you're trying to find your job, don't forget that it's the friendships that you make along the way, the people that travel this journey with you, that truly make you the hero or villain, if you want to be one, that you're going to be, that you're meant to be. And if you ever feel yourself forgetting who you are, just reground yourself, look around yourself, and remember that those friendships are what give you everything that you're about. So that's what I think the Teen Titans is about. I think that that's what X-Men's about. I think that that's what a lot of these comic books and these modern mythoses are about. So I want you to remember that, people, and always be good to yourself and to each other, and keep those friendships strong. And also, don't forget, because 2 out of 3 ain't bad, there's merch. That's right. Turn the Page has merchandise.
And all various sizes.
There are sizes. They're easy to go through. You can find us on the Facebook page. We still have an eBay page as well. You can follow this link to our Facebook page, though, and you can find one of our great color selections. You can find a size that'll fit you. You can even buy one for your grandma, because Christmas isn't too far away, and she would love it as a Christmas present because she's been following this show for you.
And she loves everything you give her anyway.
Exactly. So buy our merchandise. We'll be coming up with some new merchandise here soon, and we'll be selling that to you as well. We look forward to you participating and supporting our show, because that's what continues to get us here, and because of our love of comic books, TV, movies, video games, and everything nerdery. We live the nerdist lifestyle. Thank you for tuning in. Join us next time at the same general time, same general channel.
In general.
As long as Friday the 13th full moon that happens every 13 years doesn't happen again and strike our equipment dead, we will see you in 2 weeks right here for our next episode, which we will be covering. We will publish, I believe it was the X-Men that we're going to be doing. We'll publish that right onto our page. Check it out there. We'll publish a episode guide of what's coming up and what we're going to be going over. And we'll see you then. And thank you, and be good to each other. Don't forget to support what you love. Don't bash what you hate. Thank you, and join us next time.